All right, everyone. Now it's time for the desperate congressional Democrat attack on Donald Trump, insinuating that he's controlled by the Chinese or something like that, because Trump properties are internationally branded. And so if a Chinese dignitary comes to the United States, they might stay at Trump Tower. They might go to the Mar-a-Lago. Chinese businesses invest in Trump's properties, and he gets investments from everywhere else too, because they're making a bet that they'll make a return. Basically, Donald Trump made his fortune this way. He would get investment, basically running up debt, build something, slap his name on it. Hopefully, it's run well and makes a return. In some cases, it works. He made billions doing this. In other cases, it didn't work so well. For instance, Trump's casinos in Atlantic City didn't really do too well. It was a bad proposal to begin with, and people were kind of cockeyed at it and like trying to revive Atlantic City. You're basically trying to buy the entire city and turn it into a company town. I don't know if this is going to work, and Atlantic City is a shithole at this point, so yeah, that was definitely one of the losers in his portfolio. But he's got golf courses, condo developments, skyscrapers and shit. He's got like 5 or 6 of those, for office rentals and stuff. And believe it or not, Chinese companies occasionally rent out offices. And Chinese people occasionally visit the United States for one business purpose or another. Donald Trump made millions of dollars over the last few years from these foreign sources. And Adam Schiff, the Shifty Schiff, the other day was pussy-mouthed about this and saying, there's a big problem. They keep ranting about the Biden family and the money that they got from China, but look at Trump, look at Trump. The problem being all the profits, that is the ass end, profits on those transactions were donated to the U.S. Treasury. And that was somehow it was omitted from the legacy media reporting during that first period of time when they were talking about this, and somehow the Congressional Democrats didn't acknowledge that fact. The profits were donated directly to the U.S. Treasury. Plus, Donald Trump directly doesn't even control his property empire anymore. His kids and other managers do. He isn't taking any profit from it whatsoever other than, campaign loans and shit like that. He's still got access to a great deal of wealth, but at the same time, he's more divested in it than he was in the past because he was the president of the United States. Meanwhile, they're trying to undervalue Trump properties left and right, Letitia James and the others. Supposedly, the Mar-a-Lago is worth far less than properties that are far smaller in the same general vicinity. And it became a little bit confusing to people as to how they could possibly come to the conclusions that they came to. Apparently it had to do with land development restrictions, based on right-of-ways and stuff like that. Considering that the Mar-a-Lago is also capable of being rented out to guests and generating $100,000 in a weekend, I would say the property is probably worth more than the lowball estimate that they were giving. You could run a significant profit off of the property while living a lavish lifestyle there among your guests. In fact, that's what Donald has done. It was hilarious, though. The insinuation is that Donald Trump has some sort of devious ties to China, like he's beholden to them or something. Okay, this is the dude who waged a trade war on China. A trade war that I know ended the second that Joe Biden seized office. This is the person who actually managed to get trade deals and China to back off on some of its tariffs done, which they were very reluctant to do. This is the Donald Trump where when he was president, China was never talking about Taiwan being theirs and shit like that. They didn't dare to mention it. He's a Chinese asset. Well, I was under the impression he was owned by Moscow, so what happened? I guess Beijing put in a bigger bid. I mean, this is normal business dealings. The man has hundreds of properties scattered all around the world. He has properties in China. No, he made money from China. Look at it as a remittance, actually, back to the United States, taking a pittance and putting it in the U.S. Treasury, some of the money that we piss away to other countries on a day-to-day basis. We've been doing that a lot lately. That's how I look at it. Meanwhile, as far as Hunter Biden and his business dealings go, the thing is that Hunter Biden's sitting on energy boards without any energy expertise. So when he makes millions of dollars doing that, and the big guy's getting his 10%, and all of these checks are mysteriously arriving from Beijing for Joe Biden and for his brother, that's sus. Because the central figure it has been already exposed, number one, as doing shady dealings. We know that Joe lied about meeting with these business dealers, businessmen and so forth. We know that. We've got his statements on record. It's objective. With Trump, there's an explanation as to why the money would be there, though. He rents out high-level office spaces and condos and shit like that and has golf courses. Yeah, believe it or not, Chinese people are allowed to play golf. It is legal for a Chinese firm to set up in Trump Tower. That's not sus. Because you can account for every penny of it, and then you look at the fucking records, and it was all donated. Not the gross proceeds, but the profits after loss was all donated. Of that $7+ million that they're complaining about. It's far more than that, by the way. If you looked at all the Russians and Chinese people, and I noticed they don't have a problem with British or Japanese people or something giving Trump money. That's totally different. They're allowed to travel and trade and stuff, and the U.S. has no problem with them. But the Democrats all of a sudden become very, very xenophobic, to use their own dead terminology, the second that Donald Trump takes a penny from somebody who was born in Shanghai. I found that remarkably funny. And it sounds like Adam Schiff, all of a sudden he turns into a Ku Klux Klan member because Orange Man bad. Oh my God, he's taking Chi-Com cash. I mean, okay, all right, yeah. I wouldn't want to do business in China, but if I'm renting out an office space in Beijing of all places, I expect that I'm getting money from mainly Chinese people when I'm doing that. Even if I'm renting out a skyscraper in New York City or San Francisco or something. Could be the Chinese firm says, this is the perfect location, we want to set up our office here. Hey, this factory has space being rent out. That's a perfect location for distribution. Right on the waterfront, it's right close to this residential area, our workers can stay there. Perfect, yeah, we're going with Trump Properties. And so you're getting money from someone linked to China, but he's got a property empire. It's totally different from the kind of so-called consulting deals that Hunter Biden was involved with, again, while funneling huge amounts of money from China and other countries, Ukraine, etc., through himself to his dad and through middleman networks and stuff. The other thing, the other false equivalency, is that journalists and the fucking FBI and the CIA and the ATF and the IRS and the everyone else under the sun, the Department of Fish and Game, have all looked through everything that Trump has with a fine-tooth comb. Arguably, you have a handful of cases of misdemeanor business fraud that may or may not even pan out when the charges go forward under Alvin Bragg's court. That's been gone through with a fine-tooth comb. With Hunter Biden's business dealings, journalists originally refused to even report on it. They said there's nothing here to see, and so we're not going to look into it to see if there's anything to see. And they covered for the Biden family because Orange Man bad. They never did their due diligence. We know that the government has actively tried to cover for the Bidens in multiple ways. The FBI was literally coercing digital sites to try to police speech with regards to the issue. It never got looked into. Trump gets looked through for years with a fine-tooth comb by every agency under the sun, gets dragged, absolutely legally speaking, the Biden scape. There's a false equivalency. It's interesting, it's literally the 180 from reality that Adam Schiff is portraying with regards to these comparable issues. That's about all. Peace out.